ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is the finals where we'll be watching Cognitive Gaming going up against Team Dignitas. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fixed to get underway and looking forward to this one. Definitely going to be a barn burner, I would expect. And we've seen a lot of people speculating that we'll see maybe some Cupid coming up from Zapman in game number 1. I don't know if I'm that bullish on the Cupid.
I want to know why you're burning barns.
I'm a barn burner, man. I'm from the South. What can I tell you?
What? What is that?
A lot of barns down here.
A lot of barns?
A lot of barns.
We have like 7 barns in New Jersey.
Yeah, barns in New Jersey are usually like hovels or shacks. There's no little animals in Jersey. Nothing
we
can
have
live.
shacks.
Too much highway.
We have shacks. Love shacks. Love shacks. Oh, wait, love shack. All right, we got to move on. This is getting bad.
It is. It's actually terrible. So let's continue on and talk about the finals, where we'll be Dignitas versus Cognitive Gaming. Dignitas definitely the favorite going into this match with their win in week number 1, but Cognitive definitely no slouches, and it seems to start and end with MLC Stealth in a big way.
I think going in, my first prediction is that going to be they're going to take second pick, and it looks like, yeah, they're going to be taking second pick.
Dignitas loves them some second pick.
It's smart. I mean, they're apparently not afraid of Ullr. They're not afraid of Bastet. They're not afraid of Aphrodite. They're allowing people to pick whatever they want, and they're just forming their team as a cohesive unit. It seems like every other team today is like, we'll pick Scylla, and we'll pick Ra because he's strong, and we'll pick Odin because he's good, and they're like, yeah, we'll play Loki with Afro, and then we'll keep Loki by doing a ton of damage, and we'll keep Afro on top of him, and then once Loki has used everything, we'll switch the kiss off onto, let's say, Ullr. We could probably pick Ullr here, and they have it really feels like they have an inherent team pick phase, whereas everyone else is just kind of like.
So Agni ban and Tyr ban coming out. The Agni ban a little bit curious. Definitely not a god we've seen banned very much.
Yeah, that's suspect.
I'm not sure about that. That may be a throwaway ban. You know what I mean?
Maybe trying to force them into a pick here.
Force them into an awkward pick because, I mean, Bess is good at Agni, but you're not like, we have to ban out Bess Agni every game or we're going to fall apart. Interesting stuff. So, but
honestly,
with Ullr banned out now.
If I'm going to do things like that, just take things away from Zap.
Sure. Take out the Neath and then pick Ullr yourself.
Ullr and pick Apollo.
Sure.
But then again, he said he was going to play Cupid today, so maybe you can't do that.
That's right. Maybe they should have banned the Cupid, as the final ban does come through for Team Dignitas here. It's looking like it's going to be Freya taken out of the pool with her 76% win-loss rate and 3.5 KDA. Don't want her in this game. Cognitive now with the first pick on their hands. What is it going to be? Zeus on the board, notably here, as is Bastet. So you got to think that those are going to be the first 2 picks. And
there's a Zeus-Odin combo right now. So Cognitive, if they pick Bastet, gives up Zeus-Odin.
So now Dignitas hasn't really indicated that they love Bastet, but I can't imagine they're going to let it go through here. They're probably going to take the Bastet Odin 9 times out of 10 here, and it looks like I may be right on the money as these picks are starting to come in here. Bastet, Odin are going to be locked in right away there for Team Dignitas.
If I was a betting man, and I am, Bart, I am. Those would have been my picks. Left side, Chang'e gets a hover, which is maybe a little bit strange. But I know that Omega loves this character. He's been playing him a lot in solo. Plays him in 3v3. Option to Bara as well here. Still no lock. So they have about 20 seconds left. You can hear them in your heads at home talking this over, trying to find some kind of ground tier to deal with the Odin Bastet. He's going to switch it, actually, and it looks like the baby is going to be hovered on, and Neath is going to be hovered on for Barracuda as well. So are we going to see some locks? Yes, both will be locked in.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and get locked in there as you see Vamana Neath lighting up on the UI. Now, final pick of this round goes to Dignitas, followed by banning and the first pick in the next picking round. So they do have an opportunity to kind of get a 1-2 punch here. My guess is that they're going to pick a Scylla, yep, and then they're going to probably ban out Sun Wukong here and force awkward support.
Scylla has to be the pick here. Best has been unbelievable so far today.
And yeah, there you do see it locked in. And yeah, my guess for ban is going to be Sun Wukong. We'll see exactly what it's going to be. And it does look like my clairvoyance has come through again today. It is going to be Sun Wukong banned out of the draft. Now, what does Dignitas need here, really, to round their team out? They still need their Hunter, so maybe an Apollo ban here for Cog would make the most sense.
I want to, honestly, with Bastet, having an extra cripple against Zeus or, Vamana or Neath, maybe I want to see the Cupid.
I mean, keep it banned out now. Looks like it's available, though. It's our final ban is coming through here. It's going to be the Ra taken out of the God pool, so getting rid of that solo laner. Afro pick here, Afro Apollo lane, available and on the board, and definitely something Dignitas really likes.
Odin's already picked up. I think Afro would be solo, and putting Afro with Bastet is a nightmare.
That's true. I mean, that's very true. Similar to that Loki style, she can just go crazy in terms of how deep she dives. So Shadow Q, you got to think he loves that Aphrodite. And yeah, you see him hovering over it now. Is it going to be locked in? They still need their Hunter. Surprised if it's not Apollo here as the final pick of the game. Over on Cog now, taking a look at some Artemis. That's got to be a troll from Omega.
Yeah, they already have Vamana on the board for solo, so I think he might have just clicked the board a little bit too fast, or he's just kind of trolling on, maybe even calling out Zatman what he's going to pick. But Bacchus, Jeff Hindla is going to be hovered on here. They're still looking for their jungler as we see a hover and a lock onto Hunbots.
The bots locked in. Taking a look at Bacchus here is Jeff once again. And I love that Jeff is taking a look at Bacchus a lot in this tournament. I think that Bacchus is probably the Guardian that's going to be the one that really brings the big transition back to Guardian play if it does indeed happen. He just matches up particularly well against Bruisers. His control and the Intoxicate is just so strong. Better than any of the Warriors, Bruisers kind of ultimates for team fighting. Maybe Guan Yu, you can argue, is just as good, but Intoxicate is just tremendous. Oh my God!
Final option goes to Dignitas, and we do see a hover.
God, he's hovering over the baby, who's hovering over the platform. Are they going to lock it in? I can't imagine that we're going to see a double baby game here with Cupid and Vamana, but Zatman maybe wants to tell us all something we don't know here. And you know.
I just babysitter Scylla skin. Come on.
That's pretty good. No, now it's going to be flipping it around to take a look at potentially an Artemis, and it looks like you were right. Omega's called this one out because Artemis is locked in and loaded for Team Dignitas.
Probably a smart play there. The extra damage that Art's going to be able to put out, especially with what Odin can give her, on top of the crit damage from the passive, the attack speed and movement speed from Vengeful Assault, Odin giving the shout. That's very quick Gold Furies, on top of the fact that Aphrodite can link up to Artemis or Bastet or Scylla at this point and just create destruction.
Oh my goodness, DM! This is looking like it's going to be a very, very interesting game. You have some tremendous damage dealers on both sides. Bacchus ultimate, Zeus detonates, Hunbot's ultimate on top of it, and Ethan Vamana there to clean up. And then on Dignitas, you have the Scylla burst, the Bastet damage, Aphrodite damage, and Artemis, the most damaging of all the hunters, plus Odin, the most damaging of all the supports. In a single burst instance. Some will call him probably better at the poke long distance damage game, but Odin, just a truck. This is going to be you got to feel like this is going to be a big team fight based game with a lot of damage coming out on either side. I would expect 30,000 plus damage numbers if this game goes more than 20 minutes.
Yeah, I would say so too. Most interestingly, I want to follow Lassus around. I want to see if maybe he's undervaluing Bastet, because I'm expecting a lot of damage to come out of him most of all. And if anybody can deal with the craziness that is Hunbots, it's going to be the god of cats. Is that what she's the god of?
Bastet? Yeah. She is the god of cats and dreams and all kinds of Egyptian things. But looking at Bastet's a dream god, believe it or not. But looking at our graphs here, low mobility teams across the board here. Dig has a little bit maybe better mobility there with the Odin leaps and the Scyllas, our Sentinel and all that. But, I mean, looking over at Cog, it's just belly flop and the leap from Sun Wukong. Clear the path pretty nice. Backflip, not really a mobility ability, more of just flat-out escape against a single target. And Zeus, definitely not a mobile god. And then, damage-wise, edge definitely going to Cognitive overall there, especially with that Zeus detonate. He's just so good at it. And the team fight potential a bit higher over there as well. Lightning Storm just so good. But sustain and gank ability definitely going the way of Team Dignitas. It's going to be an interesting battle, guys. Don't go anywhere. The picks are done. The bands are locked in, and we are ready to go with game number one. It is a best of 3 finals, meaning that winner of this game goes up 1-0, and we'll need to win 2 out of 3 to win. Cognitive versus Dignitas with DM Brandon. I'm hi-rez Bart. We'll be right back in about 3 minutes with game number 1. Don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 1 of the finals in week number 2. It's Cognitive Gaming going up against Dignitas. Without any further ado, let's get underway. They are the blue team fighting on the bottom side of the minimap and the left side of your spectator UI. Ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed victors of the first qualification series, going undefeated but now struggling in Season 2. It is Cognitive Gaming. They are Andister in the jungle as the bots. Barracuda and Jeff Hinting for the Neath and Bacchus duo lane. Old school dominant lane there. MLC Stealth in the mid lane as Zeus and Vamana for Omega in the solo lane. Over on the red team, fighting off the chaos side of the map, the right side of your spectator UI, and the top side of your minimap, it is Team Dignitas, the reigning champions of week number 1 of the Smite World Championship, and they are Zatman and Shadowq combining for the Artemis and Odin duo lane. Lassus out of the jungle as Bast, Anatoly in the solo lane as Aphrodite, and it's going to be Scylla in the mid lane for the best.
So, starting off the game, nothing too unusual here. We're seeing pretty similar builds, both teams opting into Watcher's Gift and into Bumba's Mask. We're seeing the Death Toll and Bam Shrouds come out. 3 Hand of the Gods over on the left side. That's going to be for Cog. Right side has opted for a Mage in the solo lane. Anatoly opting in actually to Uncommon Sash as opposed to Hand of the Gods. And though I think the only thing that's maybe even a little suspect, and really it's quite a better idea. Oh, Lassus finds the mid camp for free on the top side. Aphrodite kind of gets pushed out here. Anatoly not finding much at all. Hand of the Gods will be used, and the speed buff will be taken and going to Andy. But Omega has taken a lot of damage here. Bastet is currently in the mid lane with the best, just trying to shove this down and strip away as much experience from MLC Stealth as possible, who is level 1 and working his way towards the lane. If he comes in this way and they suspect this, he could die.
Look at this damage going on the tower. I mean, they're going to chip it down, 10-15%. Chain Lightning coming out now. Lassus going to be forced out. Yeah, he's going to leap out, but... Cat Scratch. I don't think they have enough. It's not going to be enough to get the kill. They would have needed that pounce to land as well, but Lassus is a little bit worried about taking tower shots, and with good reason there as well. Also, as you mentioned, important to note that Aphrodite's laning phase is going to be much, much weaker without the blue buff. Cooldown reduction and mana, very important for this goddess in the first few waves of the game.
But she also hasn't split any of that experience as Omega and Andy have. And MLC going to lane has kind of suffered a big hit here. His tower took about 25% damage so far, even actually closer to 30%. You see 3 of those little bars have disappeared, despite that, I guess the silhouette on the map only showing about 15 to 20%. That is a big chunk that has been taken from that tower. Left side, strangely, Zatman and ShadowQ on the defensive.
The silhouette.
Oh,
I see what you did there.
Barra's in trouble. Jeff Hinla with a good save with the Intoxicate, and look at the damage because of the creeps. Oh, Barra just barely dodging the shot here. I don't see much coming out of this, but both teams have taken a lot of damage.
Yeah, what a back and forth. Both players playing so aggressive. Barracuda with a temporary life advantage. Zatman does have a health pot to his name. Barracuda has one as well, plus the healing from Neath there. So should be advantage Barracuda, at least for the moment. And look how far up Zatman's playing. Belly flop's coming. This is a death for sure. Just bad positioning there by Zatman. I'm not sure what was going through his head there, but once he got into belly flop range, it was pretty much over. He was going to get bursted.
You know, last week I made the prediction that we're going to see a lot of Bacchus. Apparently I was a week off. We're going to actually run back in as we see Jeff Hinla and Barracuda kind of catch Zatman off guard here.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I mean, you can see he just kind of edges his way up into the creep wave. I'm sure they were trying to bait out Barracuda moving forward to do the same thing, basically leap onto them with ShadowQ and have the Gungears Might, but awkward play. Jeff Hinla just gets the knock-up, and it's a free shot. So back to the game, however, taking a look around the map, the jungler's both off to roughly the same start. Last is a bit ahead due to the extra experience he got, as you mentioned. Anatoly and Omega going at it. Anatoly has actually got himself a nice advantage here over Omega in terms of HP. That the Sleeping Giant form has come out. Let's take a look at the mid lane, however, though, where MLC Stealth is underneath his Lightning Storm. Last is going to eat, 2 ultimates to the face. The Neath ultimate coming ripping through, plus the Get Off My Lawn from Andinster there. And that's going to be an easy kill with a crit coming in on the back of the cast. Left side lane now, it's going to be a leap in from ShadowQ into slow into Barracuda. Backflip is available, and out goes Barra. Knockup from Jeff Hinla misses, but the fights continue to rage on around the map, and now they're going to ring in Jeff, plus a trap. In comes Intoxicate from Jeff. They're going to try to stop Zatman from hitting these attacks, but he's hit every single one. Intoxicated, he needs 3 more auto attacks, and not going to find them, and not another volley over the top to get that kill, so no return. Cog up 2-0.
Right now, I mean, they have the ability to at least strip away some gold. Honestly, right now, Dignitas should be going for the Gold Fury. ShadowQ can tank it. He has at least 1 level at this point into Odin Shout, going to give some damage to Zatman, who is level 5, who has the board to defend, and Lassus and Scylla are both in the neighborhood. They could have really went for it, and it's really surprising to see them not take that opportunity.
The last is Bastet already down 1 kill, and they're starting to move forward with Hunbots. And Hunbots, definitely a god that can go toe-to-toe with the Bastet. If he can find about 3 or 4 auto attacks after casting, definitely burst her down, but it's up to Lassus to position himself appropriately with the cats. And now, let's see, did Last pick up beads yet? No beads still for this Bastet. I expect those to come out sooner than later, though, because he's just going to remain pretty free to the Hunbots unless he has a pounce up.
All right, so I'm confused to see what Lassus is doing right now. I mean, he went for the small camp. I mean, he's going to get a lot of farm out of this, but there is so much gank potential onto Zeus, and we haven't really seen him use Bastet to the, I guess, effectiveness that we would have expected. We haven't seen the cats come out yet. We haven't seen a lot of damage come out. He went for the kill early on, but MLC just barely got down below the tower. Left side, we're seeing a grouping, though. Hinla really doesn't take too much damage, and they do force out the boar. You see Andy walking back towards the mid lane. All 5 ultimates available on Cognitive as these buffs
side
start to respawn. Oh, Anatoly might have an opportunity here. Finally able to get his buff as Omega's just trying to get away. Nice ultimate coming out. Whirlweaver's going to be used. Body block by the cats there. He walks around it. Does he have enough to clear the path? He does not yet, at least.
Birds
Takes
hit.
a lot of damage.
And now he's out. Miscommunication there. Totally actually resets the blue buff. Doesn't rotate in time. Guaranteed kill if he comes over, but doesn't make it over. In the meantime, however, Anister comes through with a Fear No Evil into the Zeus ultimate, and that is a kill every day of the week and twice on Saturdays here, as now Scylla has gone down twice.
It is Saturday.
It is. Only once, though. I almost had that joke perfect, but no. First death onto Scylla, and but it's a good one here, because Stealth's going to find a lot of damage.
Look at Andy. Look at Andy being greedy. Takes away the blue buff.
Wow.
Anatoly drops the kill. He reset the blue buff, effectively lost it, and Andy's going to walk down to the bottom side of the map to give his blue buff away to, I'm sure, a very excited Omega.
That is a big play there. Andister realizing that Anatoly had reset it, goes back, steals it from him, and now still no regen for the poor Aphrodite here, out of consumables. Does have the sprint too and Warlocks too, however, though. So fairly tanky, fairly hard to kill, but won't have a tremendous amount of sustain. And yeah, I mean, I think that misplay is pretty big there on Anatoly.
Because that's communication there, because that ward up top, that can't see inside the blue buff. They don't know if that's gone or not. What that is Omega saying, listen, I got out of that. Bastet's back at the base. Anatoly's here, and he doesn't have blue, which means he reset it. There's no way he wouldn't have picked it up. Go get it. Andy walks in, finds himself some free experience, strips that away from Anatoly, and Anatoly not only misses that experience and gold, but now doesn't have as much potential for staying in lane. You can see he's already almost out of mana.
Yeah, now it's, the ticking time up has started. Check, hold that left side lane. Looks like they're going to go deep onto Barracuda. Cats come out. Last Sis and Zapman, they want to go in here. Backflip was already used, and this should be a guaranteed kill, but will it be enough? No, Barracuda going toe-to-toe here. Cats! Oh, just as they despawn. Wow, so unfortunate there. Zapman actually does secure that kill over the top with the Purge the Insolent. I believe the volley is called. Suppress the Insolent. So close. Yeah,
it could just be called volley.
No. It's every ability minimum 19 syllables.
We got Vengeful Assault, Suppress the Insolent, Transgressor's Fate, and then whatever the word, and then Boar.
Yeah, Caledonian Boar.
Caledonian.
Count Dracula Boar.
And Count Dracula. Dude, new skin. Bart is full of skin ideas today.
That's right. That's why I make the big bucks.
The mediocre dollars. So Stealth back into mid lane here, trying to just box out the best. Scylla at this point, level 9, will be able to clear much more efficiently than Zeus, but Zeus still has a major teamfight presence, as good as Scylla, if not better, depending on where in the jungle or the lane they decide to fight. Overall, we're seeing a lot of experience get split over in the left lane, despite the death. Bear is still up a level to Zapman, who does not hit 8 off that wave, so that's another 3 free minions. Mid lane, we're getting a grouping up here. Blastus is going to go back as Andy rotates in. It looks like Omega's rotating over as well as Jeff moves back over to the duo. They might be looking for an opportunity here, but Zapman smartly pops his Vengeful Assault for movement speed and dips back to the tower.
Shadow Q getting zoned out a little bit by Anister for being able to really effectively try to initiate here. Look how much damage that overhead smash does to the Odin. And this is really like the dangerous period of the game for the supports, where they don't really have actually any tanking items, right? They just have the Midas boots or their damage boots plus Watcher's Gift. So no Death Soul on supports also this game, interestingly enough. Feels like that's maybe more of what teams are going for when they feel like they have the advantage in the matchup. Watcher's Gift, the more passive style of play.
So as the blue buff starts to respawn on the top side, last time we saw a major grouping from Cognitive and from Dignitas just trying to both take this buff. This time it looks like Dignitas is really not ready for it. Jeff Hinla's kind of hovering near this blue buff, waiting for it to spawn, but there's a lot of pings coming out. It looks like they're going to group up here and go for a kill onto the best, but he is just too wary, sitting near the tower, ensuring that he doesn't get picked off. And as the blue buff respawns, I'm sure Jeff's not in a great position, or at least a position he would want to be, as the best dodges a very important ultimate.
Yeah, that's a big dodge there onto Anderson's ulti. Getting out of there just in time is the best. I think Jeff Hinla actually, kind of keyed him off to it, rotating in with the burp. It was kind of a no-brainer to use the ability there, and maybe had the Bacchus not rotated and showed himself that early, it wouldn't have been the preemptive dash from Best, and would have got caught out by that ultimate. But and Best does not have any active, so no beads yet, as he's trying to rush into that book up top.
Going down here, Shadow Q's doing some damage to Barra, but Barra just seems completely undeterred with the help of just 3 minions as he turns his sights back around. Shadow Q hitting level 9, Zapman still level 9, as we see Vera in the middle of level 10 right now. Top side, Omega
Third buff.
again stealing the buff.
Oh, it's really, I mean, there's really not much to talk about there, right? It's Hand of the Gods versus no Hand of the Gods.
That's why you build Hand of the Gods.
Back off isn't hitting for 480 yet, so there's really no hope for Anatoly to steal that away from him. Plus, totally forced into beads because he has to respect the Hunbots gank. So altogether, smart stuff by Cog to kind of around the map play that way. In the meantime, at the backside XP camp there, Lassus getting zoned out by Andis or Cat Call used, so no ultimate for Bastet now. Slowed down a bit, and Toli taking a lot of damage underneath, ultimate ripping through as well. There it is, ultimate used by Toli, but it's going to be into a lightning storm, using the beads to not get detonated inside of it, but no detonate up either, so a little bit missing the tracking of the abilities there, the cooldowns for Zeus. So beads blown, big cooldown as well for Toli, but he is going to be able to go back to base and pick up his heavenly agility, so going to be quite, Mas Rapido now for that Aphrodite if he ever needs to disengage, plus the Warlock Sash, making him quite a hard target to kill.
So we see a 2,000 gold lead right now. It's 2,200, 2,300-ish for Cog, but notably there is a 4,000 gold, or rather 4,000 experience difference for the team. That comes from stolen buffs, broken mid camps, the extra 2 kills, and the fact that they're splitting a lot more experience than Cognitive is. I mean, they've just been completely able to farm out safely, and thanks to the rotations, or rather not the rotation, thanks to the, I think, survivability and overall mechanical brilliance that Barracuda has put forth this game, they really haven't been able to earn anything. Like right there, Lassus rotated in, Barra was already gone, so that's 15 to 20 to 30 seconds wasted as he looks for an opportunity to get a kill. They're just not letting Oh, they're going to start the Cold Fury.
Yeah, it makes sense. Barracuda's back. Hunbot's farming the orange buff. They don't know he's there, but they know they have this ward. Now it's been spotted out by Shadow Q and Best. They're going to rotate over as well as the calls come out, and Cold Fury goes down just like that. Hunbots and Zeus out of position there. The lane shoved up all around the map, and that's what Dignitas does best. DM just realize, hey, I don't think that they're here, and they know that we're going to be able to do this. Lassus in the backside at his red buff, in some trouble as Overhead Smash comes through. That's a free kill onto Andister, I'm sorry. And now Andister going to be able to leap right on over this wall and get out of dodge.
But left side, no, they let it go. I really thought we were going to see the opportunity there. World Weaver was charged
right side
up.
tier 1. Vamana's using the Sleeping Giant here. He's going to stand underneath, tank it up, and take it down. Cog looking great.
They were just so mad that Gold Fury got taken.
Yeah, Omega said, fine, I'll use...
Kill everybody and take all their towers. Now I'm mad. That as a competitive player, that's one of the things that probably frustrates you the most is when it's been 6 or 7 seconds and you look at the map and you're like, I don't see anybody on the map right now. And then you think, crap. And you walk towards the Gold Fury and they're walking away from it and you're like, that was bad. But still, I mean, 2,600 gold ahead. You look at the chart, there's a straight dip down for 1,500 gold, and then that 1,500 gold works right back up in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, but they would have been down 5k had they not gotten that Gold Fury. But granted, maybe they would have been able to defend the towers. But, I mean, smart stuff by Cognitive, making the right response to that play. They did get, kind of out-map awareness there. So no really great word for that. Last is going to take a lot of damage here from this detonate. The Chain Lightning ripping through the Bastet there. And Zeus versus Bastet, not necessarily the best matchup for the Bash. She's just so low HP. And really, without Cat Call, if the Chain Lightning comes out, and she gets 2 or 3 stacks on her, it's very difficult. Of course, Cat's quite good at tanking that Chain Lightning if need be, but so far it's definitely not been Lassus' game. And this has just really not been the week of Bastet for North America. Hasn't really seen a very super dominant performance in any of the round of 4 or grand finals games in some time.
Dignitas was able to steal that away, but Shadow Q looking to pay for it here. Only one hit. He's trying his damnedest, and it looks like he's getting chased down. Yeah, he's not going to be able to get away from Omega. You can't miss the Armored Umbrella if someone's directly in front of you. So they do manage to pick that up. That 90 gold swing was definitely not in their favor. The best going to be forced back. Oh, he throws the satellite, but not in time. Blinking, forced a bore. Jeff gets pushed back there right outside of the trap, but honestly, if he would have stuck around, that could have been a pretty bad push for them. He did have the damage. Now, Lass is trying to get something done. He jumps back. However, they don't lose anyone on Cog. They find the support there, and they continue their pressure forward. MLC stealth level 15, 2 levels higher than anyone right now on TIP.
Dignitas feels damage starved this game.
Yeah.
Which doesn't, it's Best. It's got to start and end with Best, right? Like, he is their burst damage.
Lassus is there for the sustained damage, as is Zapman Shadow Q for early game burst, but Best is where really he needs to shine is right now. But the good news is that this Dignitas team can go really, really late game versus the Vamana and the Hunbots. Last week we saw Artemis manning up to Vamana's with the Odin speed buff plus the Vengeful Assault. It's just so much damage, and Artemis scales so well into the late game that you got to feel good about that. And I think that's exactly why we see Artemis this game, is because Dignitas feels like she is the best late game answer to Vamana here, and without a Freya in the game, there's not going to be much that can really look to go toe to toe with Zatman.
I mean, at this point, what can they really? I'm just nervous for Dig at this point because they're not using the gods effectively. I mean, like you were talking about, there's a serious amount of damage on this team that is not being utilized. If there's any team that shouldn't be damage starved, it's Aphrodite, Scylla, Bastet, Artemis, Odin. I mean, they should be topping the charts across the board, and while we are seeing some high damage, I mean, it's nothing compared to Barracuda's 6,200 at this point. MLC Stealth is only a few hundred behind, overall anyone on the enemy team, and looking at best right now, he's sitting under 700 player damage. That's one hit from I'm a Monster.
That's right. Last is now going to need an Arbor Umbrella in the mid lane, forced back, and it looks like Cog is going to go ahead and group up and try to shove this in. I mean, they want to fight here. They have the advantage. They have the 6,000 experience advantage is really the big one here. They're all level ahead, at least it looks like at this point. Omega looking to pull ahead by 2 levels. And another thing to note here, DM, is we've seen the Vamanas, every Vamana today shy away from that Heartseeker build. It's been much more about Warrior Tabi, Deathstoll into Urchin has been favored.
Which is maybe not super strange, but to see them not go right into Fatalis or Heartseeker is certainly unusual. It's not something we see often, especially from high-level play.
How does Dignitas get themselves back into this game? Do they
By
just
not
stall
letting
until late
Omega
game?
run around their map doing whatever he wants. First off, Last is going toe-to-toe right now is going to find himself in a fairly unfavorable position, but everyone from Dig looks like they're going to be able to get out of this one safely.
Yeah, they'll disengage, but they're going to be pinned under their towers for some time. And
Gulf Fury comes up soon.
Yeah, Gold Fury's coming up soon. You have Barracuda free farming on the left side. All things told, it's not really a great position for them to be in. You know, they need to, I think, just kind of let this mid tower go. I don't know that they can really try to fight this right now, because if they wipe again here, it's going to be almost impossible to come back into the game at 1 and 5. And now blinking in to Lassus. Ultimate's coming out. Lassus gets bursted down just so easily there. It looks like it's just free. The Neath ultimate and Hunbot's ultimate is just a guaranteed kill on to the kitty there as the fight continues to rage on. Combat blink from Stealth to get out of the ring, and now Omega says, sure, I mean, I'll fight you.
Oh, he does find the crit. Stealth will go down, but as will Zatman. That one's going to go to Barra. They turn their sights to the best. Sentinel's going to be used there. Nice kiss from Anatoly to ensure that Omega can't push forward, but the damage has been done. Lassus and Zatman are down. The only chance of getting away with this Gold Fury is going to have to be a crazy amount of I'm a Monster hits or a blatant steal from Shadowq, neither of which are looking too favorable right now. Though, Crush does a lot of damage. I'm a Monster's not going to find the target as the teleport goes through. So far, the Gold Fury hadn't been leashed until just then, as the best is just getting pushed down by Omega, but he could be in trouble. Back off into Crush. He goes down, but Barra does answer back by finding the best.
Is Shadowq going to kill Annister here? Does he have blink? No blink from the Odin just yet, so not going to find that kill. Now Toli is the one that wants to get a little clever here. He's going to find a back off on a Barracuda, dodging some auto attacks, dodging 4, gets hit by the 4th auto attack.
Lassus.
No Shadowq status there. Lassus is going to come out with a Razor Whip, going to jump over this. Maybe a kill on a Barracuda. He's going to need about 4 auto attacks now. Needs 2 more underneath the tower. Looks like Barracuda is going to be safe for now, so no cats available to secure that kill for Lassus. No return for Dignitas so far, and they just continue to fall behind. 3,000 gold, almost 8,000 experience now, as they're going to start another Gold Fury.
Also, Stealth is going to walk forward. He doesn't have Lightning Storm available to him to try to deter this, and they do. Oh, the lock. Great shot there, but oh, nope, Jeff Hunla almost stole that, but Shadowq did manage to maintain it. He kept composure there, but they're going to lose stuff for this. Anatoly goes down. It looks like Zap's not really going to make... Oh, the Boar's back up. Lightning Storm's going to be good, though. 400 damage. Will he have it? It does enough. I can't believe he had the 400 damage there, especially after the nerf he just received to that move, but...
He just finished Bancroft's talent.
This is Zeus.
Yeah, you know, he just got the Bancroft's talent up and running. 100 magical power, plus he's missing about 20% of his HP, so... Another, basically a 120, 120 damage there, and Detonate, obviously scales quite well and does quite a bit of damage, even with the nerf. Still an incredibly potent ability. Best trying to re-engage here. Looks like he's going to not find the Sick. Just leaped over by Annister. Clever play by him there. As Dignitas still tries to find a foothold in this game.
I mean, really, the foothold for Cog has been maintained. It's unfortunate for them that they lost that Gold Fury. That's 2 Gold Furies now that Dignitas has earned. If you look at the graph, it's just like it rises, it rises, it rises, it rises. It falls, jumps back up 1,500, and then it goes down a little bit and comes back up, and then straight back down 1,500 gold for the Gold Fury, and then right back up. And that's been kind of the story of the game. They're keeping themselves in the game gold-wise, but they're 10,000 experience behind. I mean, there are 3 level 17s right now over on the cognitive side. We have 2 level 16s as the highest on Dignitas, and then not even a 15. The experience difference is huge in this point, and they need to play to that strength on cognitive. find those picks onto Lassus, find those picks onto the best, or Zatman, who really can't contend in damage right now, and burn them before those hyper carries start to become out of control.
You know, Artemis is just so strong in the late game, but it's a tough call. I think you give the late game to Cog, though. Dignitas is going to be relying on the best and Zatman to do most of their damage in the late game. Over on Cog, you have the Tricor, Vamana, Zeus, and Hunbots. And Hunbot's late game is an insane amount of damage with his crit rate. So maybe in a 45-plus minute game, there's a chance that Artemis can carry this if go as planned or as they are now. But besides that, I mean, Cog has drafted a nice team for kind of all stages of the game.
What are they doing? They just use everything to go on Lassus. That was, I think, 3 ultimates to kill just Lassus, and now they put themselves in a horrible position. Luckily, Stealth had that blink up. If he didn't, that would have been curtains. They do manage to get out of that just barely after maybe what could have been a pretty big misplay, but luckily Cog's teamwork and Cog's understanding of what they could do in each of those situations played out. And now check out Omega over on the right side. Anatoly's nowhere near this. He's going to get them into the tower here, but honestly, he needs to escape before Odin rotates in as well. That could be really bad.
You know, I maybe a little bit of the old kind of like snipe strategy here for Cog, right? Or the anti-snipe strategy. Maybe they're just saying, what if we just take Lassus completely out? And every time we see him, we dump everything we have into him and try to get Lassus on tilt.
Dude, that was the Juice strategy in the original days. We're like, just kill Lassus over and over. Just do it. And then he'll just get mad.
I wonder if I will ever cast an entire weekend with you where we don't bring up the one time that Juice beat Root.
Oh, are you... The one time. Anyway, Juice was Root. Incorrect. The best finds Andenster, however. He puts himself in a terrible position and then uses the final Alma Monster hit to quickly clear that red buff. And that was just... That was the aggression that Dignitas was looking for. This is what they've been looking for the entire game. They're going to wait until Cog kind of gets a little bit too big for their britches, and they're going to find an opportunity to burst that down. And he put himself out of position, and he ate a death for it. And it's more than just the fact that he died. I mean, level 17 is a very long respawn. That also gives a kill to the best on Scylla, who is a very hard carry, sitting on 2 very important books in her item inventory right now to ensure that she can do a lot more damage than he would have expected. And in that last engagement, it allowed them to gain a little bit more positioning in the jungle and a little bit more, I guess, pressure throughout. Not to mention a little bit more of a... What's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not arrogance, but confidence in the fact that they know that they can fight. They have the damage, and that might make Cog a little bit more defensive.
Yeah, and by no means are Dignitas out of the game. 2,500 gold down, 8,000 experience. Experience, definitely the bigger problem here, but people starting to get closer to level 20 where it'll start closing up a bit. And really, it's more about buying time. They need about another 10 minutes to get the full item build, or at least the next item up and running for Zatman here, and that's when you really think that they have a good opportunity to take a fight, but they just don't have a great counter-initiation team to deal with Cog's amazing initiation or counter-initiation with the Hunbot's ultimate plus the Zeus ultimate. It's just so much, and Bacchus is just disgusting to force to initiate into because he just gets to your backline if you try to push forward too much. So Cog with a superior team fight here, it looks like it's going to be a tough and tall task for Dignitas.
But, I mean, if any team can do it, it would likely be Cognitive. I'm going to say Cog because after the launch tournament with the Snipe, but otherwise it would be Dig. As they, we're about 23 minutes into the game. They're still down a bit. Lassus in a good spot here, but it's going to be hard for him, especially at level 14, to even dent that baby as he turns to big form. He's going to turn around, I guess, just to deter them. And realistically, given the fact that Omega burned that ultimate, you should consider that Heavenly Agility was also used. Really, no team won that engagement. If anything, I think the Heavenly Agility might be more important in this factor.
Yeah, although there's not a tremendous amount of large AoE slows from Cog that they're really going to need to purge that often. It's really more about an initiation or counter or kind of running thing, or positioning thing. So, it's not like you're dealing with massive AoE slows that you're going to have to deal with. Besides, maybe the Intoxicate slow that it puts on you, but that's not a big time slow. It's pretty mild at that. So, all things told, it's a cooldown wasted, but 60 seconds for Heavenly Agility should be okay.
All right, so over on the left side,
I'm sorry, 90 for Heavenly.
Right, 90 for Heavenly. We're seeing a major grouping here. Zap's not put himself in a great spot there. The boar's going to come out. Age is not going to be good enough as Barrett does find the kill there thanks to the creeps, but it looks like they might trade 1 for 1. No, Jeff's going to be out. Andy looking for an opportunity, but he's not going to find much as Bastet and Zeus kind of box it out. The pounce is going to be in directly into the Lightning Storm. Oh, look at the baits, but it wasn't. Oh, but Anatoly saves it through the detonate with the random kiss out of nowhere. They're trying to turn their sights to Andy. He jumps out, but not really into a path he wants to be in as you see those creeps burning down. Lass is looking for something, but really, he's just going to have to escape here. MLC Stealth not in a great spot, but good shot from Jeff.
Oh, he's going deep on the Lass. Stealth with the combat big
God.
plays.
Wow, what a heads-up play there. Barracuda's also going to pin out Shadow Q here. Auto attacks ripping through. Creeping Curse coming out from Shadow Q there. No Heavenly Agility available here. Maybe a problem is Omega's going to start ripping through the team, but he doesn't have that Hasten Fatalis, so they're not going to be too worried about disengaging here. It's going to be successful, but not until Lassus does go down, and he's going to build a Magi's Blessing here to try to deal with some of this lockdown.
There's no one even remotely close to this Gold Fury on Dignitas. Omega just trying to block them out, but he realizes there's nobody even remotely close to this Gold Fury for Dignitas, which is not only a bad swing for them in 1,500 gold, but that Sentry Ward, that 135 gold they spent as a defensive measure, is just completely wasted because it effectively meant nothing.
Yeah, good point there. And those are pretty scarce. You can only carry one at a time, and they are expensive. Red buff now going to be contested by Cog, and it looks like Dignitas, you know, they thought about maybe trying to stop them and then ran away, and now Zadman's going to die.
Andy! Jumping in the back, overhand smash, not quite. They did force the boar out. Shadow Q gets off the Gungnir's Might, but takes a lot of damage in the process. Crush going to be used, not doing any damage. Lash going to be used, not doing any damage. All of Dig's abilities are just missing, and they're losing a lot in their own jungle. Check out MLC Stealth throwing out that Chain Lightning, a little bit of damage coming out from the Detonate as well as Cog continues to be aggressive. Barra taking way too much.
Yeah, now Barrett. Oh, Lassus is going to find a kill on the backside there onto the Vamana. Little bit too overeager there. Barracuda also quite low now, so is that the foothold that Dignitas needs to get some farm and get back into this game? It feels like it's going to take a lot more than that after that last Gold Fury, especially the 4,000 gold advantage now really starting to favor in here as the experience is going to start leveling out. 10k up is Cog, but level 20 hit by the best, 19 on Toli, and not too far behind the rest of the team, but 320s and a 19 for Cog. They have, you know, another 5-6 minutes where these levels are going to be a really big difference.
So they gave up a tower on the left side. That's going to be a 500 gold swing, and for the 4 people that were going for it, I don't know how much really that would have been worth it, but Jeff there takes about 60% of his health thanks to a beautifully placed kiss by Anatoly. But still, they will be deterred from the rest of that push. Right side getting some extra experience. You see Lassus just moving forward. You can see him now. He has built into Magi's Blessing, which is going to really push him back even further in the player damage department. And for the first time in a long time, we are seeing Bastet not really perform as well in the player damage stat than normally we would see her. Barracuda at over 15k, MLC at over 15k, both of whom lead the charts as we see both teams starting to groove up towards the right side to protect the Fire Giant.
Oh, this looks kind of like typical North American Bastet from last season,
Yeah,
where they're looking at the EU's the EU scene run it and they're saying, oh wow, this god is so powerful, and then it comes into North America with a 20% win rate, very similar to what we saw with Thor from North America over to Europe. And also, interestingly enough, DM, I do want to point out that last week we saw a lot of Thor picks, a lot of high-priority Thor picks.
I'm really surprised to see Thor not being picked more in this tournament. Nemesis really not getting the attention she deserves either. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're getting favored. Well, of course, Bastet's going to be big, Hunbots is going to be big, but we've seen a lot of maybe unorthodox picks today.
Yeah, and unorthodox definitely for Dignitas. We know that Lassus is not the best Bastet player. Definitely not the best out of his god pool.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, we saw him at PAX Prime when Bastet was considered one of the worst characters in the game, and he spread. He was amazing. And then she became stronger, and he did pretty well. Maybe not quite as well as the Europeans were doing, but now that she is incredibly fast, incredibly damaging, I mean, her timers have become ridiculous on the post-hit and pre-hit delays. He's not really using that to their advantage.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you're not getting the big dump coming out. Yeah, after that Jotun's Wrath, forced to go into the Magi's Blessing over maybe a more well-rounded, right? Not instead of an anti-CC item, you could have built into the Height of the Urchin there, which ends up being the better item overall, as long as you're not getting chain CC. You really want to be relying on your leap, right, to deal with most of the CC you're going to be encountering, but Lass is just getting teed off on.
I mean, the whole game it's been like that. They have to shut the Bastet down. Unfortunately for Cognitive, though, they haven't really been able to shut down Scylla. He's 2-2, he's level 20, maybe not the highest gold in the game, but he's damn well close at 12-7, and he has a lot of damage available to him. Like we talked about, both the books are done. He has Shoes of the Magi for pen, and now even more pen added with the Obsidian Shard 70 magical damage on top of the 33% penetration. I mean, you go down the board here and you look at Scylla, and she has, she's sitting on 395 damage and an amount of penetration that really will burn through most of what anyone builds.
And I do want to point out here as well that Jeff Hinla's Bacchus is pretty much unkillable.
Yeah.
The Void Stone and Sovereignty plus the damage mitigation coming out from his Drink of the Gods is...
Not to mention the passive from the being tipsy or smashed.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the drinking giving him the flat damage reduction on top of all of his mitigation. And look at that. Zatman exploded by the Intoxicate plus Omega, Armored Umbrella. Best force out of this fight, lastest force out of this fight, Anatoly forced to run. They have a good split, does Dignitas, but not sure if Toli can deal with the crits coming out from Andis or over at Smash. Gonna actually get caught there on the side. Barracuda gonna take the burrs and he flip it. You backflip out of it using the Purification Beads rank 3 to get the cooldown for backflip. Barracuda.
Only person that dropped there was Zap. Jeff Hinla, very low on mana. Barracuda can't really take another hit. Andinster will die in one crush, and it looks like Dignitas is going to use that to their advantage and go for the gold, or rather the Fire Giant.
Oh my
I don't know how confident they really should be at this point because MLC Stealth is back, and he is looking to fight.
Oh, and that Chain Lightning hit. So much damage. Stealth, and that's going to pretty much seal the deal. They're not going to be able to re-engage it unless they have this ward. But this ward is actually a cog ward, so they don't notice that everyone is mass recalled. And Neith and Zeus are still there. Zeus ultimate not up, but his Chain Lightning is enough of a deterrent for them to go in now. Last is trying to farm up what he can over on the right side, but you got to think that, a Neith ultimate when it comes back online is coming his way.
So more groupings coming out. Zatman actually opting towards the left side of the map. Gold Fury is back online, though at this point will be a little bit less favored. 4,200 gold separate the teams, as well as 12,000 experience, which of course is starting to get slightly mitigated, though Lassus is 3 levels behind Anitzer. Zatman still not level 20 himself, and Jeff Hinla on Bacchus surprisingly 2 levels ahead of the Odin, who normally has much more experience than the other people thanks to the fact that he can farm very quickly.
Gold Fury going down in favor of Cog. Zatman rotated over, threw out a volley, but wasn't really close. Wasn't even necessarily trying to seal it, just maybe bump up that player damage number a little bit there. As a little bit of counter warding going on a Fire Giant, and once again Dignitas dropping a sentry here. Will it go the same way as the Gold Fury sentry, where they're just going to get wiped and get pushed off the mark anyway? And you look at them, I mean, they're 4-man farming their jungle. They are really, really far behind, and the map control is looking really, really good for Cog. Only tier 2 standing left for Dignitas, still the tier 1 on the right side for Cognitive up. And that's on the Fire Giant side, where that objective is becoming more and more important.
So pushing forward, 32 minutes into the game, Dignitas trying to separate, or rather, I guess, close the gap between the two teams. While the gold is increasing, the experience is starting to shrink since you can't really go up any farther from level 20. It really comes down to the Fire Giant. If they're able to find this on the Dignitas side, the comeback is definitely viable, despite the fact that they may be a little bit behind at the time. Whereas if Cognitive gets this, it might be the nail in the coffin. It's really going to come down to the best in Shadowcue. Right now, the best has a lot of damage, can control a lot of space, and with I'm a Monster can force people into very bad spots. And Shadowcue, of course, is going to have to go for the opportunity to take away the Fire Giant from Cognitive, because at this point in the game, with the way that the gold and the experience is going, it really should go to Cog.
Oh, DM. It's looking ugly here. Right side, they're going to chase Vamana for a little bit into his tier 1, but, I mean, why? You're just putting yourself so far out of position with no real kill potential against the Vamana there, and looks like Zatman and Toli want to pressure this lane while the rest of the team spreads out the map into mid, but, I mean, they can't really 1v2 this Vamana because it's going to take so long to kill him, and there's a Neith ultimate plus the rotation from boxes already started here. It looks like they're kind of putting themselves into an awkward position here where they really need to kind of 5-man pick off someone. It's such a tough position they're in because they can't 5v5 fight straight up because the AoE presence and levels and farm are much higher for Cog. But they can't seem to secure a kill on a single target without 3, 4, or 5 players. What do you do if you're Dignitas now? Because you're just getting abused by Hunbot's ultimates if you try to 5-man.
Yeah, that's true. Although Anatoly has been kind of the savior of the team fight. In the last 2, he has protected someone from taking that ultimate, and it's really kept Zatman alive, who maybe is not in a great position for that right now, as you see him sitting well below half health, even with that heal ticking onto him. Crush going to go off, hitting Andy for almost half of his health on top of MLC Stealth, taking about a quarter as well. They don't have a lot of healing potential, not a lot of sustain on the Cog side, whereas Aphrodite is allowing to really keep them in the fight for as long as possible.
Well, the good news here for Dignitas, the game is still going. 35 minutes in. They need maybe another 15, 20 minutes before their hyper late game carries start really coming online. But the Fatalis is done for Omega here. So if they take a bad fight, that could be all she wrote. MLC Stealth's going to take a lot of his health. In fact, he's going to get exploded by the crush from Best. And now Scylla really has come online in a big way. Polynomicon, Omega taking a lot of damage from Zapman. Is this Dignitas' time over the top? Comes Zapman, they've ringed in. Baka's ring goes down. They're going to chase with the cats into the tower. Last is sleeping in on a Barracuda, forcing him out. Only 3 remain for Cog, 5 up for Dignitas. They need Phoenixes here. They need Phoenixes and Fire Giants to win this game. It looks like it's going to be the back off, and they're going to try to find that Fire Giant right now. DM, this could be Dignitas' time. They find the 2 most important kills on the map, the Zeus and the Vamana. Only have to deal with the Hunbot's ultimate coming through, but no Hog. This should be a free Fire Giant.
Everybody at home is getting ready to raise their Jeff Hinless as Cog moves in, trying to look for the steal opportunity, but look at the potential of control coming out from Dignitas. They're not letting them in. Jeff is not in a position right now, and looking at the Fire Giant, it's done. They got it. They're forced out on the constant side, and the I'm a Monster's going to swing heavy.
Oh, man. That almost hit him for the kill there. Barely missing there, unable to secure it. And now it's going to be a push from Dignitas with the Fire Giant buff. They should be able to remove the rest of the tier 1s. That's going to bring them to basically even on gold. Barracuda taking damage from Last is going to be forced out the sprint. Last is going to fall back, healed up by Anatoly. Dignitas, they know they need to push for a win here. They need all of the gold off the map. And then, well, honestly, they'll probably mass recall. Let's take a look at their in-hand gold. 1,600 on Andis, or sorry, over 2K on most of the players. Yeah, here comes the chain recalls. They're going to go item up here. They have so much gold in hand, and then they're going to look for the final push here. But, oh, DM, this one's going to really come down to the wire now. And as we mentioned, 40 to 45 minutes, Dignitas, Artemis, and Scylla is really, really hard to contend with.
No, I don't even think it's coming down to the wire anymore. You see the gold differences, even the experience difference is still massively in favor of Cog. But you look at the board, and Lassus is 2 levels behind Andy. Shadow Q's 1 level behind Jeff. That's all the experience means at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Really, this is not even a dead-even game anymore. Considering the gold and the Fire Giant buff active on all 5 players, this is massively in favor of Team Dignitas, especially with those 2 tier 2 towers down, the ability for them to group up and push the last one down on the left, and the fact that they have Bastet, Scylla, and Aphrodite. I'd be very worried if I was.
How about the fact that they got 750 magical power on Scylla right now?
Oh, God. I mean, the scaling on I'm a Monster, given the I'm a Monster's normal damage,
well,
and the
given
fact
that
that
Crush,
she's going into Soul Eater.
Crush is hitting the Gold Fury for 900 damage right now.
That's fair. That's fine.
That's fine. Omega going to look for a split push on the right side of the map while Dignitas 5-mans on the left. Probably the best bet that Cog has for now. They really have to go for the bend, don't break right. And they can't fight into the Fire Giant Dignitas without an amazing initiation and probably a Vamana going nuts in the backline. It looks like they're actually going to force the recall out. So abandoning the split push is Vamana. Not going to look for the Phoenix here. They want to defend their base as Dignitas is tier 2 on the right side, likely to fall. Uh-oh. Caught out fairly well as Zapman. He's going to take a lot of damage, and now it's Omega coming out, but they haven't killed Zapman just yet. Blocked out by Anatoly is the ultimate there. Hunbot's ultimate ripping through as well. Shadow Q is ringed in most of the team. Crush coming through as well. Where is the I'm a Monster? Hasn't been used just yet. It is online, the only ultimate available for Dignitas. 1 CC here could spell the death for any target, and this is looking very hairy for Cognitive as Dignitas is going to aggress into the Phoenix.
This is their strategy. Just don't use I'm a Monster. This is what they did in the last time we saw them, is they just wait. This is why we keep going back to the best today, is he doesn't panic. He's just like, you know what? Let's burn everything except for it. And then when the opportunity arises, I'll just kill everyone.
The damage is so real. The sick come into Crush doing so much there. Leaping out of damage as Shadow Q going back in. I'm a Monster. Got to be ripping off any moment now. You can just feel it. Oh, he doesn't even need it yet. Still, Jeff Handler going to go down the Crush. Dignitas is going to try to win this game over the top. There comes the best. This is going to be another strike onto the Minotaur. The Titan's going to fall. Dignitas is going to win this one out. DM, what a play.
Down, but not out. And despite the fact that almost everyone on the team was positive, Cognitive just really couldn't find the opportunity. Now, Dignitas was down by so much. 5,500 gold, 12,000 experience, I think, at the peak there. And at the end of the game, they were only up 6K, despite the fact that they had a Phoenix, I think 2 Phoenixes and 3 towers. Down. This is the best.
Best MVP.
Scylla needs to be banned. That's it.
The Scylla versus Zeus debate, I think, has been finished.
There was a debate?
I mean, Zeus came off the board first. The much higher priority pick ban.
The issue was if they didn't pick Zeus, they gave up Zeus Odin.
That's right.
That
forced into it.
That would have been. So we're gonna jump into a replay of I think the last engagement here, Bart.
Yeah, let's take another look at at exactly how this fight does go down, and you'll see actually Best hits 2 rotations of his Sick'em into Crush before the Iron Monster even comes out, so he does a casual 3,000 damage before using his ultimate. It looks like in this fight. I mean, a couple of clutch Sick'ems, in fact, catching out I believe the Bacchus +1 right before that Phoenix does go down. So, I got so excited I said Minotaur.
I love the Minotaur.
What a play. I mean, and then I'm a monster. And then the second I'm a monster onto the Titan pair. I mean, hey, that's an extra, 1,400 damage. Why not?
1 million damage. It's basically an Osiris ult that you can use repeatedly.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. I mean, Dignitas, the Fire Giant, all in, just barely working out for them here, and Cog has got to really be feeling that one.
Especially after being up by so much, guys. We're going to be going into Game 2 in just a minute. Of course, Dignitas is now up 1-0 in this series. But it should also be noted that even if they lose this series, they will maintain their first seed. If they take this, it will secure it for at least 2 more weeks after this, which is a pretty big push for them, and definitely a place they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, with only 10 total weeks of qualifying here, having a guaranteed first place seeding through 4 weeks is not bad gift at all. We'll see if Dignitas can close out this best of 3 series over Cognitive Gaming North America, or will Cog remain on tilt after that tough beat versus Dig?
Be into the game.
Or what? I'm sorry?
We're in the game.
We're in the game.
We're in the game. I'm in the game. Are you in the game?
I'm not in the game, but let's get in the game. I guess we're rolling right into it there, and let's take a look. I guess picks and bans will be coming out shortly here.
Yeah, hopefully. So, looks like first opportunity. It looks like Hog has actually opted for first pick, despite the fact that they know Dignitas like second pick. First ban is going to go to the cognitive side of things. Couple seconds left. They're still talking it over, and it's going to be Agni.
The Agni. Banning out Agni. Always interesting.
Yeah. I'm really not sure what they're hoping to attain here, especially with the way that Scylla just ran wild on them.
I can't believe they're not banning Scylla.
All right, so tier coming out on the right side from Dignitas. Option back over to Cog where they ban Zeus. This might be a first pick of Scylla.
I would imagine that you would want to go ahead and take her off the board. I can't imagine why you wouldn't.
They can't let the best do that again. That entire game was won by Crush.
Yeah, the Crush was huge.
So option back over to Dig here. It's going to be Freya. First pick option's going to go to Cog. Not sure what they're going to do here. It should be Scylla, but there are a lot of big picks on the board, including Bastet. Sun Wukong still available. Odin's still on the board. The top tiers are running wild. But Tyr and Freya have been taken away from Andy. 25 seconds remain in the God selection, and it looks like we're going to get a hover onto Uller.
First pick Cupid. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, just do it, right? We got a hover onto Uller, and they will lock that in. Option goes over to
Uller.
Dignitas. We got a hover onto Odin. Anatoly going to hover onto Bastet, which means Scylla will still be up for grabs if they decide to go for this one.
That's one thing in the last game with the Odin Bastet that we didn't really see out of Dignitas, right? Was like Odin
Catch
ring
out.
plus cats. Pretty much GG.
I like Catch Out on the Gold Fury at like 6 minutes.
Yeah, sure. The extra attack speed on the cats, very strong as well.
Yeah, putting that up to a 1.15 attack speed increases the 75 damage a second up to like, roughly 86-ish, which is kind of crazy, especially when they can tank it, but they're going to be locked in. Option over to Cog. It's going to be an auto lock of Scylla, auto lock of Aphrodite, and option will be back to Lassus for the final pick of phase 1.
So, looking at what they have and what they need here, they have the Bastet Odin. Will they look to pick up Poseidon here before he gets banned out? I would think yes, because if he gets through, yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Clairvoyance once again in my favor. So Poseidon is going to be picked up. Don't want him banned out because then that forces you into the Isis pick, and God forbid even something lower tier than that, the Vulcan maybe coming out. So gonna go ahead and take that Poseidon now. We're going back to the banning phase over at Cog, but this time it's going to be Stealth, Scylla that's going to be doing the work.
Another shot taken at Andy. We have a tier ban, we have a Freya ban, and now there has been a ban of Hun bots. All 3 have been junglers taken away from Andy. Arguably, you can say the tier was Omegas, but the final ban's going to be option over to Andy. Maybe taking another shot at Stealth here, or rather the best, but Poseidon's already been picked up.
Yeah, they've already got Poseidon there, so it's got to be probably a Hunter ban here.
Yep,
just to limit what whatever they want, or whatever they expect Zapman to want to go into here
and
naturally.
they expected Neath, and Neath will be banned out.
That's right, because, I mean, last week we saw Zapman pick Neath to go up against Ullr specifically.
Okay, so we have a hover onto Hades here. Now, I have had the extreme... he locks it in. I have had the extreme displeasure of fighting the Hades as Aphrodite, Anatoly's Hades, which I don't know if he thinks it's a counter pick, but it does very well. He can end her very early, but Aphrodite has a great amount of gank potential, or rather, anti-gank potential. But Bastet and Hades, I mean, you're not getting away from that.
Yeah, Bastet Hades is pretty gross. I mean, the cat's going to stack up all the slow on you.
What is this?
Once the fear comes out.
Why is he hovered onto Fenrir?
Support Fenrir, best god.
I would like support Fenrir. I'm down with support Fenrir, but the option is Cogs right now. It is not a support Fenrir. That is a hover onto the god of wine. Once again, Bacchus is going to be locked in. Fenrir will be locked in.
Fenrir.
Sure, why not? Andisser's original jungle god.
That's true.
I mean, that.
Oh, and there's the Cupid.
They're gonna run. Oh, they're gonna run Hades Cupid lane.
They're gonna run the bro comp. Hades and Cupid.
They're gonna run Cheese lane. Oh, I'm so excited.
No, I think Odin.
No, they will. They will. They'll wait for the team fight to do it, but
yeah,
it's the Wombo combo.
It really is. This is this game's Wombo combo. Formerly the bro comp. Hades throwing down a massive amount of damage, and then the Cupid, of course, getting the cripple. The only thing we should consider here is Afro can walk out of it with her ult starting at level 2, even in the very center of Hades' ult if she's fast
not if there's
enough.
a ring there.
But yeah, not if there's a ring there. And with
so,
Humbots,
let's talk about it, DM, real quick. Let's like kind of tell, you know, if you don't really know exactly why these mechanics work together, the Cupid ultimate is a large AoE that for the duration cripples, which means that you can't use movement abilities to get out of it without being CC immune. So with that, coupled with the Hades ultimate that channels tremendous amounts of damage in an area over time, you can't get out of that tremendous amount of damage. It generally kills you.
I am just so blown away by these picks. We have Fenrir, considered extremely low tier. We have Cupid, considered low tier. And we have Hades, considered low tier. All of which have been picked in the same game in what could be the final game of Week 2 of the Smite World Championships. Like, this is nuts.
Yeah, this is going to be, once again, a barn burner, DM.
What is
Barns are getting burned left and right.
What does that mean?
You never heard barn burner?
No, why would you burn a barn?
It's like, it refers to a party in the country that's so outrageous that the barn burns down.
Why would you have a party in a barn? Why wouldn't you just be in a house
awesome.
like normal people?
Because it's the South?
I don't understand.
I know you don't. Someday. But legendary Cupid for Zapman. So he's been practicing his
I'm
Cupid.
pretty sure he has legendary.
But hold on. Fenrir Ragnarok.
Right.
Into Axe Stun. Into Bacchus Knockup. Into Burp.
And then
Kiss,
DR is done and they jump away.
Into
they have a lot
I'm
of
a Monster.
CC, though.
Like, they have... I mean, just Ragnarok into I'm a Monster is a free kill every time.
I'm thinking more, Ragnarok, I'm a Monster, or just sick 'em belly flop anything.
Yeah. I mean, this is a extremely high CC team going up against Dignitas, who once again hasn't drafted a lot of hard, reliable crowd control.
I think both teams are looking pretty solid. I mean, Cupid and Hades by themselves aren't super characters, but Hades against Afro does very well. She can't clear, and if he's aggressive, it can do very well. Cupid has a lot more control than people give him credit for, and if Barracuda gets caught with his jump down, that's going to be GG. That's
true. Yeah, that's right. And Bastet has a bag of money on her hip, so all things told, it's going to be an interesting game. I think advantage to Cog here, certainly in the early stages until team fight, where Dignitas can really shine, and a lot of it's going to come down to can Anatoly really do work against Omega's Aphrodite here. We'll find out in just a couple of moments, guys. Stick around for game number 2. Cognitive versus Dignitas. Up next, Dignitas 1-0 and a chance to close it out in week number 2 and maintain the number 1 seed moving into week 3. Have a great break, guys. I hope you get a nice drink and a sandwich, because this game looks like it's going to go long and it's going to be exciting. For DM hi-rez Barton, we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 2 in a best-of-3 finals. The Anatoly Ward is already out, and he's recalling back to base. Cognitive Gaming versus Team Dignitas. Let's go ahead and introduce your teams. They are the blue team fighting out of the bottom of the minimap, the left side of the spectator UI, and they are the order team. It is Cognitive Gaming North America. Barracuda and Jeff Hindle will be combining for the Ullr Bacchus duo lane. A lot of CC, a lot of burst there. And to start out of the jungle is Fenrir. Omegatron will be your solo lane Aphrodite. And MLC Stealth will be the monster of the mid lane as Scylla. Their opponents today will be the Chaos Team, the red team, fighting out of the top of your mini-map and the right side of your spectator UI. It is Team Dignitas. They are Anatoly will be your solo lane. Hades, Shadowq, and Zapman combining for the Odin and Cupid duo lane. Lassus in the jungle once again on Bastet, and the best in mid lane as Poseidon.
So, right off the bat here, not seeing anything too crazy. Normal starts coming out from the junglers. Normal starts coming out from the mids. We're seeing the Watcher's Gift come out as well. Wards down. As for invades, check out Lass ready to steal this away. It looks like he is going to go... Actually, what's he doing? Nope, just going to jump away. Make sure that he's not getting invaded on this time. Probably a smart play. Definitely the safe one. But not too much craziness coming out. But with how slow they were on the left side, there really isn't a chance if Jeff Hemla notices this for them to get this safely. But they're just going to go to lane, Bart.
Yeah, you know, I think that it makes a little bit of sense here. Just because all they really care about is levels on Barracuda in the early game. And so, you know, if they would have missed that contention, they would have been level 1 and Dignitas would have been level 2 or 3, especially if they got kills. But I don't know. And really, Uller, I think, kind of shines at level 2, not level 1 so much.
Have we talked about the fact that if he jumps on someone and uses Brutalize with the back-off damage, whoever gets hit by that is dead?
We haven't talked about it, but let's talk about it now. Brutalize base damage so much.
No Brutalize.
And the back off also adding, although back off at a level 1 spell is not too crazy, it's really at level 2 that it scales so you know, it adds what, 90 damage a rank, so the first 90 damage. We're not going to see it
until he hits level 4 anyway.
Sure, that's right. I mean, he needs the bird so much, so but yeah, I mean, still the Ragnarok into back off just when they're in their mouth is perfectly fine as well. Jeff Hemla taking a lot of damage from Zapman, but Zapman getting wrecked by Barracuda right now, but a lot of damage. Shadowq, no, just a little bit too early to try to dive the tower that much, but I mean, if you are just joining us and you don't watch a lot of Smite, I mean, you'll notice that the Smite towers are nowhere near as effective at keeping people from diving you after about level 6 as they would be in any other MOBA game.
We have a very strong, I guess, push that you are there to defend the towers. The towers are there to defend the Titan.
That's right, yeah. Not you.
Yeah,
ain't good. Yeah. Uh-oh, here comes the signature Shadowq.
I love it.
What if I steal your orange buff now play? However, there is a ward there by Jeff Hemla already, so what a player. Jeff Hemla.
But Lassus doing the trademark, I think I'll go steal your small camp and then head into mid lane where MLC Stealth is kind of waiting for him. Stickham's going to be used. He's going to take some crush damage as well. Probably won't affect Lassus too much as Bumba's Mask can heal him back up. But at 2 minutes when everyone's rotating towards the mid camps, there really isn't much to be had here. I mean, the mid camps don't spawn for another minute.
So the fearsome wolf moose continues to roam around the map, looking for damage to put out anywhere. Looking for level 5 for sure here is Anderson. And once he hits it, you know, he'll be able to maybe set up a kill. Lass is fairly low at the backside red buff, but of course they have no way of knowing that. Let's talk a little bit more about the solo in here, where it's going to be Aphrodite versus the Hades, and this is a very dangerous matchup. Hades has a lot of kill potential on Aphrodite. Aphrodite has a lot of not dying potential against Hades, but really no kill potential against him. He's just too damn resilient and has way too much heal with his Devour Souls for her to ever kill.
If you stand in the middle of the wave, by the way, and you get hit by that 6 creep Devour Souls, it can kill you.
Yeah, the amplified damage from the splash is really, really big.
Look at the potential here. Anatoly just trying to keep him out. Now, the mid-camps are starting to respawn. Devour Souls not quite doing the damage Anatoly was looking for there, despite the fact that he has a very damaging build, but he's going to be able to clear that far before Omega. Mid-camps are going to spawn. Contention on the right side. Looks like this one is going to go to the Kraken, which was used there. Not doing enough damage, and Andy's not in a great spot here. The cats are doing too much damage, and
they
the first
failed
blood's going to go down.
Do you see that?
What's up?
They failed the Ragnarok into I'm a Monster combo.
I think he was nervous about the cats, honestly. He was kind of jittering around trying to reduce the damage, and in the end, it wound up being his undoing regardless.
He didn't, like, stealth fire the I'm a Monster not far enough, expecting, you know, the Fender to keep moving forward. I think you're right, and wow. I mean, that seems unmissable. There's really no excuse there.
It's sometimes, you know, if your communication's not perfect, especially when you've taken so much damage. I mean, well, let's just run it back here. Let's take a look at the replay, and you can see Andy is just taking a lot of damage here, and he starts to panic.
Yeah, he starts to panic, and then it doesn't run quite far enough back, and so Scylla fires the ultimate, it doesn't hit, and then it's an easy kill. And, you know, a questionable Poseidon, right, you can definitely bring some doubt to whether or not he should have used the Kraken there to secure those mid camps, but it ends up being a nice play because it creates the space really for Lassus to find a nice spot to drop the cats, get a Razor Whip out, and ultimately take down the Fenrir.
You know, not only that, but the best also earned the mid camp with the Kraken, which is an extra amount of golden experience. Just a little bit of icing on the cake.
Yeah. And it's also worth noting that the Cats, I saw someone in chat actually asking, it's a good question there, the Cats weren't slowing Fenrir there because he was in his ultimate, and based on one of the earlier patches, I think in the last 2 patches, being CC immune now wipes slows from you that are applied while, before your CC immune. It used to be that if you were slowed and then went into CC immunity state, you would still be slowed. Now those fall off, and there's no way for the Cats to apply them through the CC immunity, so just pure execution error.
That was actually a fix. After Thor, it was found that he could cancel the movement penalty by activating Berserker Barrage. They took the slow off of that, and with that, they never quite fixed the bug itself, but that was wiped recently in a patch, and that's why...
there's a lot of trouble for Zatman.
But
Jeff Hilla missed the knockup.
No, in the mid lane, the I'm a Monster combo goes off that time, and Andenster does manage to find revenge. Left side zap is very low. Barracuda is getting tanked out there, but he does manage to find some piercing shot. Bladed Arrow can be able to find that kill. Jeff Hilla moving back. A big swing there for Cog, but this is not over yet as Lassus is looking to cause some damage.
Yeah, Lassus wants to go deep onto the Fenrir, but he can't go just that deep yet because MLC Stealth, he hits him with a Sick'em into a Brutalize combo. Could be plenty of damage, and now he's going to take some damage to the face there. Stealth. Actually, that's a lot of damage from that Razor Whip onto Stealth. Only 1 level ahead of Lassus. Just takes so much speed buff active on Lassus still as well. So, yeah, mid lane, they do execute the combo. On the left side lane, looks like Cog's playing, a little sloppy here. I mean, they had an earlier axe stun that Jeff Hilla missed the knockup follow-up on with the leap, curiously enough. So
that Lassus didn't just use the Cats there.
I know.
I
think that he's wants to play this a little bit safer than he did last game. Really got far behind, wants to, secure his farm and make sure that he's just using Razor Whip to do most of his damage, not try to do anything too fancy.
Lassus about 1 second off from being able to jump back over that wall, but Anatoly here has rotated into the mid camps, just trying to save his Devour Souls for the confirm. He gets one. All 4 Harpies in the mid lane are going to be going to Dignitas this time around.
Indeed. So now Jeff Hilla sitting between his tier 1 and tier 2 as Best pushes into the tower. Lassus in the backside, dumping abilities, but not really finding much XP for his trouble. On the solo lane, let's take a look at how it's doing. Level 9 Anatoly, 3,900 net worth, going up against Omega, sitting also at level 9 with also 3,900 net worth, so it's all the same there. Lassus is going to eat, and I'm a monster leaping away. I'm not sure the Fenrir can follow us up. In fact, there's the Cats being used onto Stealth, and Stealth kind of puts himself into an awkward position now, and they're going to be forced to try to burst us down, and it's apparently not a problem for Scylla at this level.
Anatoly also not having many problems over in the right lane. Level 9 right now versus the level 9 Omega. Neither player really getting pushed out at this stage of the game, and there hasn't been much push from either jungler. Both Lassus and Andy have really been spending a lot of their time in the mid lane.
So, I do have this coming down after watching that replay, where we spent a lot of time talking about how Fenrir and the I'm a Monster combination didn't work. It looks like ultimately what happened there was that the Cats ended up body blocking the Fenrir, I think, during Ragnarok. Looking at the replay, that's what it looks like happened. So, not a misplay, a fantastic play by the Smite AI system. Great job.
The Cats able to do some damage here. Speaking of which, Omega finally taking some damage himself, but he's going to throw the birds out, which is going to not only heal him back up, but put him in a bad spot, because now he doesn't have the birds to be able to push out the wave. And it's only Shroud of Darkness and Devour Souls pushing that wave out, and there's nothing Omega can do about it. But birds come off cooldown, and that's going to allow him to clear the wave without losing anything. Great play by both sides, but Lassus is coming in looking for blood.
Yeah, he wants to find the kill here. Omega does not have the sprint up and running, does have Warlock's Thatch, so we'll be pretty high HP. See Bach is jumping in the left side lane. He's going to take a Heart Bomb for his trouble. Actually, they're going to go ahead and dump everything into Jeff Hilla, try to find a kill here. Intoxicate comes out. Jeff Hilla does go down to Zatman, so they will find a nice kill there on to the support in the left side lane, looking back towards the mid, where Lassus is rotating in. Red buff just coming up. They see Lassus here with this ward just off the back, and he's going to leap into red buff where MLC Stealth is waiting, bursting him down. Cat's coming out now onto Stealth. Lassus is going to leap all the way back, but they do force the reset onto red buff, and Fenrir are going to take, about a third of his HP for his trouble fighting those Cats. Left side lane, now it's Kuda that's in some trouble. Heart Stun is going to hit. They need the burst. Do they have it? Gungear's Might needs one more auto attack, still going deep. Zatman's not leaving just yet. How can he get around the tower? Still taking damage from Barracuda. Barracuda's fighting him so well. There's the Gungear's Might. But at what cost? They lose their support for Barracuda making a kill out of nothing.
Right, but Zatman here is not in a great spot, though he does have the mana to flutter away. It looks like that's what he's going to do. Barra spent a lot of time but Lassus does find a kill onto Andy. Omega super low right now, but Lassus is in a very unfavorable position, and MLC Stealth is not looking to let him get out of this one for free. He's going to pounce out of that one. Not the greatest decision there by Stealth, and Best's rotation is going to be able to keep him safe.
Yeah, now Aphrodite going to rotate over, and the ultimate is available in case they wanted to try to pursue that any further. And with Sentinel, Kraken is just so unreliable for the Best. And Best has been kind of quiet this game, but is sitting at 1-1 and nothing, and is starting to get his farm up. And really, he is so Poseidon. You pick Poseidon because you want enemy jungle control. I feel like that's really what he excels at most out of the mid lane. He's just so speedy that if you ever had an engagement that lasts more than 5-10 seconds, anywhere within kind of orange buff to red buff on the map, he's just so good at getting there and finding the Kraken. And has great Gold Fury control as well with his ability to move around the map. So Best is really now getting it into that spot. Once he finishes his Bancroft's Talon, will have a lot of damage and a lot of mobility.
All right, so moving forward, Dignitas does have a pretty decent lead here. Despite only being up 1 kill, they have 2,400 experience and about 2,000 gold in their pockets, ahead of course, the boys on COG. Now, Dignitas was not in a favorable position to start last game. They were down for the majority until the final couple fights where they took control and won the game, but at this point, Cognitive seems to be on the defensive. If there is going to be a turnaround right now, it has to be in the favor of Cog.
Yeah, they're moving towards it. Stealth is going to have a Doom Orb up and running here relatively soon. Has a Radiant Orb finished. Anderson are going to have a Jotun's Wrath, but it looks like, let's take a look at the net worth and gold per minutes here. Net worth of 5,100 for both him and Lats is about 600 gold ahead. So the Jotun's Wrath is going to come out first for the Bastet, which is definitely trouble because that means Bastet's going to be able to bully Fenrir for a few minutes this game and maybe take a camp rotation from him, which Fenrir definitely not a god that plays well from behind.
Omega here got the cats used onto him, able to get through it. It looks like he's just put some pressure onto the lane here, talking about Anatoly, but really not much gained overall. Omega not really super threatened. He did have to use Undying Love to get out of that one, but ultimately is fine. I mean, he wasted the cats out. You see Anatoly is not in a great position as 4 members of Cognitive are going to start pushing this lane down.
Yeah, I mean, they forced out the rotation from MLC Stealth, and they're really just trying to make the best of it now, but they're just going to clear the lane off for Omega. And Uller started running over and pushing the lane into mid, giving Zapman some more free farm as the travel time comes out. That's going to give Zapman level 13, and look at Zap freezing the lane. Just letting his minions kill the enemy minions, denying some experience, and just kind of playing it very, very smart and very patiently on the Cupid. Not trying to make, big plays like you would on maybe an Apollo in that situation and try to push the lane and get tower damage. Just says, you know what, I need to really play this a bit more carefully because Cupid is just not the same god that Apollo is.
Now, I've seen Zapman in the past week in scrims or in ranked or in even normals playing a lot of Cupid to try to counter Uller. You can see he does a lot of damage, but Zap took a lot right there for his trouble. He's going to use the hearts to clean it back up, but really Barracuda's getting free farm at this point.
Yeah, and it's just this back and forth, it seems like, of giving up the farm in the left side lane here. And Cupid, ultimately, the Heart Bomb scales tremendously well. So if he gets a nice high physical power build, he can start blowing up the Scylla especially.
So, speaking of Scylla, you can see her rotating around, looking for the mid camp right now. I'm really surprised that we're not seeing a Gold Fury bait, at least, to try to force them out of position. I mean, right now, Zapman is just undeterred in his farming. You take a look at the gold right now. While he is on the bottom overall, he is tied with Omega over in the duo lane, putting him ahead decently enough of pretty much anyone else. But Barracuda does manage to top the charts for his team, staying slightly ahead. But here we're talking about the Gold Fury. They're finally going to start it. Look at the control.
Yeah, try jumping into that.
Ooh, man.
And now the tower getting aggressive over here on the right side. And in fact, Anderson's going to be in a lot of trouble. They've Creeping Curse him as well. And a Pillar of Agony. No, he's going to force a Ragnarok out. But now there's the Kitties. Kitties going to get back off by Omega. They're not going to find the kill there. And Anatoly looks like did use the Pillar of Agony earlier in that fight. So not available to try to secure that kill. But Ragnarok was there anyway. So Gold Fury going their way. Plus a tower. Big time gold swing for Team Dignitas. 4,200. Well, gold and XP now in their favor.
Yeah, that was like a 2,000 gold swing that they just pushed forth. If Latsis had used the cats a little bit earlier to maybe burn the Ragnarok sooner, there could have been kill potential, but he saved him for too long. Anatoly got back in there and got him out safely. But still, I mean, I'm sure they're not too depressed taking away a tower and the Gold Fury.
No, definitely not at all. I mean, they're trading, a kill or positioning or anything like that around the map for those objectives going down early on. I mean, the solo lane tower, you want to get down nice and early. It does present an opportunity for Aphrodite to farm, but Aphrodite, not the late game, kind of terror that you're worried about having this. Like, in some respects, there's a case to be made for not taking down a tower super early in a lane that has a Vamana in it, because he'll be able to sit so close to his tier 2 and farm, and only really needs the ward in between the XP camp, the red camp, and the blue camp to stay safe farming there, as long as he can hold the lane. But, against the Aphrodite, you don't really mind her getting that extra farm, or rather safer farm.
Look at the rotation. The best is trying to find something. Jeff's in trouble. Kraken knock up. That's going to be all she wrote for Jeff. But look at this. Stealth not willing to let this go for free. Rotates in. Zatman throwing down the Fields of Love just to keep the team safe, ensure there's nothing else to pressure. At the same time, Zatman's going to rotate over to the mid lane to ensure that that experience is not wasted. Dignitas not only retains their lead, but increases it to 4,300.
Yeah, and in the meantime, just cheekily there, Anatoly's going to take the blue buff away from Anatoly yet again. So he's, not done yet with Solo Island, just going to stay over here and continue to harass Omega. And I think you're right. I mean, as Lassus is going to find an opportunity to put some damage into the mid tower, taking it down. No response available from Cognitive, as Poseidon is still over here on the left side lane, just shoving the lane repeatedly into the tower. Barracuda's doing his best. And it looks like Shadowq's just perfectly happy just to kind of tank this up as they auto-attack it for a bit. Now shifting over to Zatman, now onto Best. And they'll each only take about 100 damage.
Barracuda is going to try to hold down 3 people with the help of Jeff, and they're over with the lane. I don't know what they're going to try to go for here, but actually they have pushed Shadowq into a pretty bad spot, but he does have the ultimate available to him. Look at Zatman. He knew exactly where that jump was going to come. Lassus finds a kill in the mid lane while this is going on. Like,
in between the tier 2 and the Phoenix there, finding Scylla. Hades now going to rotate over the mid lane, and now it's going to be Lassus going a little boxing match with Barracuda here, but Barracuda needs to be careful because Anatoly can come over at any point. If a leap is used, he could die to a Pillar of Agony. Omega going to miss the birds. No setup with the kiss there, so very, very difficult to hit confirm that ability. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be, look at that, the Fields of Love plus the Kraken. There's a player kill underneath the tower, plus a tower. Dignitas seems to really have a much better game plan here. It doesn't look like Omega's tremendously confident with Aphrodite versus this Hades matchup. And so now it's just huge frontline mage for Dignitas in the Hades. You can see him just dive the tower. Plus they have the Bruiser with all the Bruiser properties. Kuda taking so much damage. Goes down to Heart.
He uses the beads to run towards the wall. Couldn't find the jump, and it pulled him back in so he couldn't jump. He was forced out but at that point, he already took the Heart Bomb. He just couldn't find an escape opportunity. More kills going down. Only Anatoly has dropped there, and they found 2 kills for that. That was a huge play for Dignitas.
Yeah, I mean, all of it. They've been executing incredibly well, and this Cupid-Odin combination just seems like ridiculously unbeatable. Like, anytime they get any objective that they want, be it a player kill, be it a tower, be it a Gold Phoenix, a camp even, all they have to do is drop both their ultimates, and you just can't initiate into it. Like, literally, you cannot. You'd have to blow beads before getting into it, or you're going to get mezzed and crippled.
Not to mention, Fields of Love does like 300, 400 damage. Like, it's not something you want to jump into.
And has very nice scaling as well.
Yeah, it does. Remember when he used to be a mage?
I do remember when he used to be a mage.
That had some good scaling.
Yeah, then it was really serious. And the hearts used to heal so much. But so now Cupid has kind of gotten out of the I'm Cupid phase and all of the kind of deficiencies that he has in lane, forced to get his stacks up to get stuns. And now is just like a late game hunter with plenty of damage items and most of his damage coming through in hands. Is less concerned about, micromanaging his passive, and it really opens up a lot of opportunities for Dignitas.
Anatoly forced to jump over the wall there. It looks like Lassus was unable to take away that buff. That will go to MLC Stealth here, but 10-4 right now. They have 69, almost 70. It's almost 7,000 gold ahead, on top of the fact that they're 9,200 experience ahead with no level 20s. You can see that reflected in the best being 17. Zatman is 17 from the duo lane. And then you go over to the duo lane on the other side, and Barracuda is level 16, whereas Omega is only 15 at this point. And once again, the Gold Fury is going to be started. And like you were saying, I don't see a way for them to jump into this safely. They have Ring of Spears, they have Fields of Love, they have Pillar of Agony, and they have Kraken.
And it's like Cognitive just needs to learn their ABCs. Always ban Cupid. Clearly the best god in the game, based on this performance.
Can you stop? Like,
awkward reset there from Dignitas on the Gold Fury. They probably could have taken it down, yeah. So now they're going to go ahead and tank it up again, and Shadow Q, like, they just can't really do much damage to him. Oh, he brings in Omega here. Shield used to keep him alive. Actually, double shield now from Cog to deal with all the AoE. And now Anatoly in a good position here. Kraken comes out, doesn't find anybody. Gold Fury reset yet again, but Lassus finds a kill. Totally in some trouble. Getting brutalized there, will go down, but there is a Whirlpool there to keep Anister in play. Shadow Q now going to put out the Gunger's Man on Barracuda, forcing us for Zatman going into the front lines here, DM. And they're going to chase Cog out of this, and it looks like another Whirlpool. And do they have any other damage to follow this up with? They do not, so it's going to be falling back, but this should be now a very free Gold Fury versus their mostly free Gold Fury attempts from before.
The fourth attempt at the Gold Fury here. Zatman, for the fourth time, is going to tank this one up, but I don't think they'll be deterred here. That's going to be a free situation for them. Taking a look at the board now, 8,600 gold in the lead. It's just a flat 1,100 gold they just gained. I mean, they did lose Anatoly there, who was probably worth a decent amount of gold, but at the same time, they gained a serious amount of map control, and their items are just going to start scaling out of control. Zatman has 1,300 in hand, which means that rage is finished.
Yeah, it's a completed rage for Cupid, and now comes all of the fun things that happen when you are late game Cupid. Which is to say, let me actually like go through here and enumerate exactly what it is that does go down here when you have a Cupid passive fully stacked. So this is something that looking, like we're gonna have a brief pause in the game here. We take a look actually at what his passive does is. So every basic attack gives him a stack up to 10, and he gets an additional 2% damage per stack. So 20% additional damage from Cupid with his passive. Plus Heart Bomb scales at 170 plus 90%.
Yeah.
Twice? So, a lot of damage can come out from Cupid from abilities and his passive in the late game, so you really have to look out for that.
Again, Dignitas' attempt to steal a buff were deterred and stolen away themselves, as we see 4 members, actually all 5 members now of COG and Dignitas are grouping up for a fight randomly at a very strange part of the map. Jeff is not going anywhere just yet. Fields of Love gonna allow him, actually the Undying Love is gonna get him out of Fields of Love, but look at where Anatoly is right now. Kraken's gonna send Omega into the ether here. The heal's gonna keep him alive for a little while longer, but unable to get out. Anatoly will find the kill. That is again a 2-for-0 exchange in favor of Dignitas.
If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, this is game number 2 in a best-of-3 series between Dignitas and Cognitive Gaming in the finals of week number 2 on the Smite World Championship Series. We are moving into the 21-minute mark, moving into 22, where Dignitas is going to go for the first Fire Giant of the game. Looking to contest it is Cognitive, but with a level 13 Bacchus going in against a level 15 Odin for that Hand of the Gods joust, plus the ring. Well, no ultimates available, I'm sorry, for Dignitas, actually. You do have Ragnarok plus the Barracuda ultimate, obviously, up. Anatoly will fall down. Jeff Hinla is going to leap in, looking for the hand. And Cog actually is going to get that Fire Giant, so Razor Jeff Hinla's on the steal. Shadow Q pulled out of that fight as well. A glimmer of hope for Cognitive.
Farah just trying to escape here. Doesn't take the optimal route and will. Oh, but Lassus throws the whip directly into the creeps and will be unable to chase. Axe toss. Oh, he's going to turn around on this. I don't know how. Oh my god, look at the damage. Cognitive does manage to get out of that one in a 1-for-1 trade as the chat continues to raise the Jeff Hinlas. We're going to see them move forward with the Fire Giant buff, and this could be Cognitive's now chance to turn this game around.
Yeah, now, I mean, very similar to what happened to them in the last game, except for they don't have the kind of late-game craziness on the ADC, but they do have MLC Stealth. Not as progressive as build as Best was when they took their Fire Giant, but still able to put out a lot of damage. However, Best is at a much harder time. I'm sorry, Stealth is at a much harder time this game, 0-3, and has been going down a lot to Lassus in the backline. So, it seems to be a lot on him. And I'm sorry, he's actually was dead when that came out, so no Fire Giant buff for the Scylla where they really, really needed it.
That's a good point, but at the same time, I'm sure they're not too deterred in their Fields of Love here going to come out. They're not in a great spot. The damage really hasn't been too hard so far, and Zatman actually taking a lot. I'm a Monster going to go off, hit Zatman, but the hearts are going to keep him alive just for now. We're going to get a shell that comes out, rotating down. Anatoly's looking for some kind of damage. Undying Love's going to get them out of the Pillar of Agony as they move forward, but Jeff is not in a good spot and will go down. Lassus jumps into the front line, finds himself a player kill, on top of the fact that he's able to push down so much damage that Dig will be undeterred.
Yeah, now you have 3, sub 20% HP gods moving back. Anister going to fall here to the Lassus leap in. He's going to find, he's going to find his death at the hands of Scylla. Lassus maybe pinging out for his team or jumping with, the command jump there or something in celebration, but does go down to the Sick'em plus Crush combination, or perhaps his leap back just wearing off. But All things told here, it's still looking like Dignitas' game. We haven't looked at the graphs in a while, guys, but 8,600 gold and 13,000 experience in favor of Team Dignitas. And we're still a little ways away from everyone hitting level 20. It's getting close, but Dignitas still has some room to grow here from a XP growth perspective.
Pharah still has the Fire Giant buff on Uller, who's a fairly prominent character still in the meta. But you can see he doesn't have a lot of damage, 10,000 gold comparatively to Zatman, who's sitting at 11.6, who has actually used that to build a short sword, the item that really separates the two players at this point. Pharah has to be very careful about where he chooses to engage, because at this point, most of the damage on his team is really going to stem from him. He's 12,000 right now, and surprisingly, still MLC Stealth is sitting at a meager 8,100.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Stealth Scylla right now.
And, I mean, we also see Last is at 22,000, and then the low-tier Fenrir sitting at 4K.
Well, yeah, Fenrir has a hard time this game. And I think I saw Hindu Man talking about it in the chat, and is absolutely right? Fenrir's picked up to make sure that Scylla's early game doesn't get abused by the superior push of Poseidon, and punish him for being out of position, as well as setting up those I'm a Monster chains, or free kills for Uller with rotations from the Axe Stun. But Anderster only has 1 assist. So I would say that it is not working out great. Of course, the team only has 7 overall, and he has 3 kills, so involved in over half of the team's kills, but really needs more assists to set up some snowball action for MLC Stealth.
So look at Lassus right now. Not only is he 7-1, but he's also opted into Shifter's Shield, which is going to make him incredibly tanky. That's going to be a 35 protections under 50% health, which is going to ensure that when he's getting low, he'll have escape chances. Though in the last engagement, we saw the Crush just did a little bit too much for him to deal with, but at the same time, he's in a good spot. I mean, his only death was really an overcommit. It wasn't them losing the fight. It was just, I overcommitted for 1 instance and I died after we won a team fight.
I also want to point out here that similar to kind of what we saw in the first round, or I'm sorry, the second round game, where we had that kind of like support tank Sun Wukong solo, you should have just drafted Hades. Because Hades, 1, 3, and 9 with a lot of defense items.
Right.
And still decent damage output, and does it much more gracefully than the Sun Wukong can. And it seems like that Anatoly really hasn't been a huge factor in this game. The Odin and Cupid ultimates have really been what have been winning these team fights, but it's the threat of the Hades follow-up that forces them to run instead of trying to turn and burn at really any point after the first two big AoE ultimates come out. And then there's still a Kraken as well. I mean, just the AoE comp from Dignitas is just a little bit ridiculous right now.
So Cog not really in a spot to defend this tier 2, though they can rotate in. It looks like they are going to get down there before the creeps do. Fire Giant should be spawning in just a few seconds here, as it is blinking on the timer, meaning these teams are going to start rotating up towards the big man to try to look for something. Kiss is going to be on cooldown. Shadowq's Magi's Blessing will be burned by Belch of the Gods, as you see Dignitas start to back off.
Jeff Hinla still looking for his 3rd item here. I mean, just barely over 10,000 net worth. And the sovereignty here, Lassus with the Jotun's Wrath plus the Titan's Bane, there is no sovereignty as far as he's concerned. Completely negated by those items, so it's going to be a tall task here for like MLC's Stealth to stay alive. And you can see even Omega is leashed onto Stealth to keep him alive. Not the target you're going to want to be on most of the time. It's going to be onto one of the Assassins or either onto the Fenrir or the Uller. But here, or even on the Jeff Hinla to bail him out as you see now, but they're forced to keep Stealth alive in these fights.
I really think they can burn this down before Cog really has a chance to answer. Ring of Spear should come down here, force out the Fields of Love as well, and just put Jeff into a bad spot. Anatoly and Jeff Hinla, everyone's just starting a fight here. Toli's not in a great spot, but he's going to be able to move back towards his team and get back in. Fire Giant has been leashed.
I'm not sure they want to pull Odin into the whole team. Now you see he rings and Krakens and Fields of Love, and then there's going to be a Pillar of Agony as well from Toli to finish it up if he wants it. There it is. Awkward there.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm not really sure what the plan was meant to be, but that couldn't have been it. Crush is going to go down, but not blow up in time. Barra just trying to find 1 kill to even this fight out, but it's a 3 for 2 right now, and he's going to be forced back onto his heels. Granted, no one on that team really has a large bid and his ability to throw hearts down, but I don't know how much we can really rely on that.
That was something. But Dignitas now going to go ahead and fall back after taking the tier 2 on the right side. They're going to have their try at Fire Giant, and that one is going to be free and easy for them. No chance for Box to make it over there. Was still just respawning and making his way out. So, all things told here, it looks like this is Dignitas' game to lose. 21-8, 29 minutes in. They're sitting on a 13,000 gold lead, a 20,000 experience lead. But the experience starting to, not mean quite as much. However, Jeff Hinla still sitting at level 15. The Shadow Q is very far ahead of him.
I mean, really, except for Stealth, everyone's kind of behind here. Bear's behind a level, Omega's behind 2 levels, Andy's behind 3 levels, and Jeff Hinla's behind 3 levels. I mean, they have a lot of experience gain right now, and normally when you get to level 20, it's like Bart said, it starts to not mean as much, but in this current scenario, I think it still means a lot.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, it does. Yeah, the extra levels there. I mean, a couple levels. Only level 20 is MLC Stealth here, so.
All right, so really, they have to rely on that I'm a monster damage. He had an opportunity in the last fight, but he didn't get the kill. If he did a little bit more damage before throwing out I'm a monster, that could have resulted in a double or even triple kill with the way he was lining them up, but unfortunately, he found nothing. Now, we see some rotations coming over. Anatoly is going to go down here. Ragnarok will be wasted, but I think that was the only ult they really used to try to get that down. With Hades going down there, I would really like to see Dig just try to burst this Gold Fury down and get out of dodge.
So Gold Fury is falling the way of Team Dignitas here. And how do you look to even get back into this game? Is it just like, Barracuda, please pentakill them for us? Or or is it an I'm a monster
Maybe not
chain?
a ridiculous request. I mean, we've seen Barra do some pretty crazy things in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
Jeff.
like, oh yeah, Jeff, you're going to be in some trouble here. Whirlpool is down. Jeff trying to get back out of here. The burp's actually going to hit 2 there, and Zatman is intoxicated for some time, and it's going to be a full-on retreat now from Cog. And Dignitas now knows they're on their heels, but they do have a nice angle here, and no ward spotting out Scylla off to the side, so it could be a big sick'em. No, it's just going to be a crush. It does nice damage, but they don't take the Magus Blessing off Lassus, which I think they're going to need to do to burst down that cat, because the Basset's just been so effective against stealth here.
We were talking about before that the biggest weakness right now on Dig is that their sustain is awful, but with the Fire Giant buff, it's kind of been mitigated. It's allowing them to fight toe-to-toe with that kind of sustain, not to mention their damage is insanely higher, not only because of the levels, but they're so far ahead in gold. I mean, look top to top right now, Lassus has it's about 3,500 gold more than Barracuda. That's a Deathbringer, or in this case, as he continues to move on, it's going to be Hydra's Lament.
Yeah, it looks like it will be indeed. And so now all of a sudden he's going to have capped CDR plus the extra burst damage coming out from the Hydras. Shadow Q just standing there buffing his allies and tanking the tower like a true Odin player. Fire Giant buff still active and will be here for about another minute, it looks like, as Dignitas is going to aggress into the tier 2. And I'm actually really surprised Cog's going to try to defend this here, because if they wipe, it's going to mean all of their Phoenixes. Last is going deep, now jumping back out. Whirlpool there to zone, and they will take the tower. Cog not wanting to commit too much to that, actually.
They really didn't even have a chance to defend that tower. They blew it up very quickly.
Indeed. It's going to be a red buff steal now coming out from Dignitas, and then they're going to look, I imagine, to re-aggress. Take a quick look here. Over 1,000 gold on all of the players in the team, so maybe they will look to fall back. Last is forced to use Beads 3 to get the leap back off cooldown faster, and now we'll be able to leap out. It looks like, yeah, it's going to be a retreat from Dignitas. They're going to look to recall, probably spend this in-hand gold. Everyone, Anatoly the lowest at 1,200 gold in hand, but Cog looks like they want to fight in Dignitas' backyard here. Fire Giant down. I don't know why they're playing so aggressive on the right side of the map.
So, after the launch tournament, we saw a roster change on every single team of the top 8 except for Dignitas. And they seem so far to be the most dominant team. Of course, that theory will be tested as we continue this series. Cog might still have it. And of course, tomorrow when Cloud9 attempts to go for their second win in a row after their, I think, fairly prominent victory in Week 1.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, Cog could still win this best of 3, right? They could win this game and the next one, and then it's a different tune that we're singing here about how effective their roster change was. But for now, I mean, we talked about it a little bit on the Face-Off show, Drybear and I did, that, is Cog really better off with Jeff Hinla? I mean, they haven't really seemed to find the great wins that they want. Obviously, they've drafted a great objective stealer here, but the duo lane still seems to be kind of really meshing together with him and Barracuda.
I played against them a few times in the 3v3 tournament, and from that, I can say that, yes, they are probably better off with Jeff Hinla, because Jeff has probably the best situational awareness in the entire world. It's incredible. It's just that so far, it hasn't really meshed together. The chemistry between him and Barracuda doesn't seem 100% yet.
So once again, Lass is going to just... stealth is now like, if I see the Basset, I run immediately. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Dignitas even just kind of bait that, right? Like run the Poseidon around and then force out the Sentinel and then follow it up with. But Stealth does have Combat Blink actually now up and running, so probably not. And Shadow Cube has the Blink 1 plus Anatoly with the Blink 3. They can chase, but they probably don't want to go that deep. So we'll see. Dignitas is really biding their time. It seems like here, just kind of saying, hey, let's try to find another kill. Let's not go too crazy. Fire Giants back up. Maybe a pick into a Fire Giant attempt is what we want, but they're certainly ready and able to fight Cognitive at this point. They should be baiting the fight, I think.
Well, Fire Giants back up. They're contesting it for now. Lassus going to take some more damage there. MLC, I wonder what his percentage is in terms of landing these crushes. It's got to be very high.
It seems very high this game. He's had very, very good positioning for that ability, but I think sometimes his desire to hit that ability has led him to get killed by the cat, right?
That's
He's
a good
positioning
point.
himself that is in range for Crush, but it's just been he's been caught out by Bassett way too many times this game. 3 times in the early game, and then a 4th in the later stages of the game, just from all the AoE. But I like the response here from Cog, the double shield of absorption up to deal with the AoE comp.
The best is throwing auto attacks into the wall to try to bait, but Zapman actually started the Fire Giant. There was a major miscommunication there. That was kind of a major waste of DPS, and now Zapman's sitting under half health. This could be Cog's chance to really turn this one around. Lassus is diving in. Jeff Himmler's find himself near 4 people as Zapman does a lot of damage with that heart bomb.
Yeah,
down to half.
Anister is not pleased with getting hit by that hard bomb, even with the Height of the Archer doing a lot. Now in comes Lassus doing a lot of damage. Kraken, it's a good one. It's going to hit 2. And now Jeff Hinland's some trouble. Where's the Hades ultimate? He's getting in position. Still looking for it. There it comes out, Pillar of Agony. Only finding 1, but it is 1 good kill. There comes over the top a Scylla ultimate. Barracuda can't find the auto attack. Zapman with the jukes. Barracuda trying to run, but the blink is there for Anatoly. Not sure if he used it in that fight. Last with the triple kill now onto Stealth in the mid lane. Only 1 remain, and it is Barracuda on the Uller. Surrender vote coming out. Not sure if this one's going to go through, but Dignitas is going to find some Phoenixes here.
Oh, man. I think everyone who's talking about how maybe Basset's not that overpowered is holding their tongue right now as Zapman and Lassus just completely blow away the competition. Lassus just chasing for hours, but the Zapman jukes right there were unbelievable, and it looks like with the pressure that these 5 are going to put down, Week 2 is going to end again in favor of Dignitas. GG.
The ABCs, always ban cat.
Always ban the cat, yeah. Not
always ban cat. So Dignitas gets another 2-0 victory in the finals this week, this time over Cog, not Snipe. Cog takes a 2nd place. Snipe, do we have an update over Snipe versus Game Changers? Let's go ahead and F5 our brackets here. Looks like Snipe did go and pick up a win over the Game Changers. We'll get into that in just a second, but quickly let's chat about this matchup here. We do have the replay ready to go here. So let's get back into this and watch Lassus' triple kill while we kind of talk over his 11-1-6 performance and stat line. 36,500 player damage, top in the game by a lot, by over 10,000 to Lassus, and there's a few thousand of it in this triple kill at the end.
I just love the way that he moves around. Right in the beginning of that team fight, he also used the pounce to initiate, threw the bleed onto 4 people, which sparked the ring to even go down, the Kraken to come out, and the Fields of Love to follow up. After he gets those 2 kills in the beginning, he chases Scylla all the way to the Phoenix and then finds it, man. Crazy.
Yeah, great play. I mean, I think that when Lassus, what was it, maybe 15 minutes in the game, gets the kill onto Stealth in between the tier 2 and the Phoenix on the Cog side of the map, it really kind of took Stealth's head out of the game. It was very hard for him to deal.
Usage to get the cooldowns back. Even though he kind of ran out of mana there, I mean, it was just really smart, and it also ate up the Sikkim. It allowed him to continue the pressure, and it eventually won the game.
And now we're looking at a 0-5 Omega, and Toli goes 3-6-13, so I'd say the Hades counter pick was quite successful there.
Yeah, I think it worked out. I think Omega also might have been a little bit unfamiliar with the character, but that is not a great matchup for Aphrodite. And in the end, Dignitas is going to be able to take their 2nd win home. That gives a 2nd and 3rd place placing to Cognitive Gaming and a 2nd and 3rd place placing for Snipe. Game Changers for the 2nd week in a row have fallen to 4th place and will maintain their 4th seed.
They have indeed. Quickly taking a look at that game, it was a 19-minute game, and it was 22-5 in favor of Snipe. So the Game Changers definitely looking like a strong team, but not looking premier this week. Still getting beat by the consistent top 3 placers of Snipe, Cognitive, and Dignitas in the North American scene. We'll see if they or Down to Frag or any of the other up-and-coming teams in North America are able to break into the top 3 next week for week number 3 of our Smite World Championship. If you guys want to talk about the games, please do use the hashtag SWC and come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the European broadcast. DM, before we head out, any final words for our fine viewers?
Bansilla.
Bansilla every game. Never let Zeus through. Maybe we'll just go to like 30 bans per team, and then everyone can only pick a couple gods. Only free gods. The only free gods tournament would be fun.
That's how we did tournaments in the beginning.
That's right. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. For DM Brandon, I'm hi-rez Bart. For all of the production staff, admins, and players, we thank you for tuning in today, and we will see you next week at Saturday at 12 noon or tomorrow with Dry Bear and Hindu Man casting the European week number 2, and that starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, roughly 15 hours from now. So be sure to come back for that. Thank you all for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/hi-rezbart. You can find DM at JuiceDM, and you guys have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you next week.